First thing you need, frame. Alright, this thing right here, frame. Alright. Second thing you need, you're gonna need a power distribution board. Bam! Right there. Power distribution board. Now the next thing you're gonna need, math board. Oh, next thing you see, don't forget to throw it. Oh, alright, oh yeah, the motor. You're gonna need a motor. Yep, this thing right here. Alright, you need props. Alright, let me show you what a prop looks like. Alright, you need more. Alright, a little bit more. There we go, that's nice. Alright, now you need these accessories, and it's the zip ties, the heat shrink, Velcro, battery strap, and also two-sided sticky tape. Extra wires, right there. Now let's get this thing started. Now we're gonna build this thing right here. This drone right here. This is the frame. As you see, I got the arms already put on and the bolts on there because I did not want to waste time, and I didn't want to waste you guys' times. But this is the very simple part of the build, is putting the bolts on. And the drone and the package comes with bolts and nuts and stuff like that already installed, and I pretty much twist these things on with my hands. Alright, let's get started with the power distribution board. Alright, so pretty much I already did a lot of soldering with this because it took me a long time to figure out, but hey, I am only human. But so pretty much you saw the black and the red wires together, and right here at this port where it says negative bat plus, and yeah, it's made by Max Systems, and it's a pretty nice distribution board. I like it. You guys gonna like it too. So let's get into it. So what we're gonna need to do is place this board right here, smack down in the middle, and line up the holes just in case if we want to add some bolts and nuts later on. But for now, we're gonna use some sticky tape and two-sided sticky tape, and we're gonna get that thing put onto the board. Alright, so here's the sticky tape. Pretty much I'm speeding this thing up because I hate long videos, and placing that thing right up there. Yep. So we got this right down in the center in the middle, and we're good. So next thing we're gonna do is prep our ESCs. That's the next thing that we're gonna put on this baby right here. So we're gonna take out this heat shrink, and because I don't like long videos, I'm gonna speed this baby up right about now. Yeah, very nice, very nice. Alright, so once you got that heat shrink off, and it should look something like this. And pretty much you see that little metal plate right there. It's gonna be a little metal piece right there where you, it's gonna pretty much guide your razor blade through it, but you don't want to cut it too much. But so pretty much this ESC is gonna be right here, and we're gonna put some two-sided sticky tape right here, and then later on, once we get a secure configuration, we're gonna put some electric tape around that ESC and make sure it doesn't fall off during flight time. So here we go. We gotta take off these wires because we don't need these things no more, but they're gonna be used probably later on in other builds or whatever. Alright, so we got those wires off. And another good thing too, I put some soldering wire on the tip of the iron to get those wires off, and it was pretty much easy once I got that little solder on the tip of that soldering iron to get the wires off, and just add that added pressure with the fingers and the thumbs and pressing down on the ESC as I pull it apart helps out a lot. Alright, so we're gonna get this two-sided sticky tape on the ESC and cut it down the sides like we did it right here, and we're gonna place it right here. And now we gotta do this to goddamn 3 more. So I guess we're gonna speed up this video right about, come on, there we go, speed it up, speed up, speedy, come on, now, and now, and now, there we go. Okay, listen to some music. And pretty much at this point, I'm just soldering the ports of the ESCs to give it a little bit extra solder, so when I solder on the motors later on, it'll be much easier to put them back on. Alright, right here we added the ESC black and red wires to the power distribution board, and this is where we're going to get the power to the ESCs. Make sure when you're soldering the board that the positive and the negative don't touch in their connection, because you will short out the board and pretty much you'll mess up your whole entire setup. And I don't want that to happen to you guys. And then another thing too, you don't see in this video, but I use like this wooden skewer. Like after I solder everything together, I just went in between the soldering joints and soldering pools. I like to call them pools. And pretty much I just cleaned up the extra solder in between them, ensuring that none of the soldering joints or pools are touching each other in connectivity for the positive and negative. Alright, we're gonna pretty much prep the motors and solder them to the ESCs. First thing we're gonna do is measure the wire and see exactly how long of the wire we need to cut off. And after we measure that, we're gonna cut the wire and we're gonna strip it and we're gonna tin it and put some pre-solder on there, and we're gonna solder them to the ESC. So, bada boom, bada bing, bow. Here we go. We just screw these babies on right here and do it just like how I just did it right there. Alright, because baby, here we go. Alright, so pretty much I'm just screwing these things on with my hands because I don't have a proper Allen wrench to put them on nicely. Alright, we're at the point where we're gonna solder the PPM wires to the
flight controller. And pretty much the way we're gonna do is we're gonna cut and strip and tin. We're gonna need at least 6-inch worth of wire, and preferably we want those wires that are black, red, and white, so we can have something color coded to know exactly where they are, because we're going to be connecting this PPM wire to the receiver. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to solder the ESC back wires or channel wires to the flight controller. On top of the flight controller, there's going to be an arrow. We're going to make sure that that arrow is pointing to the front of the frame, and as we soldering the boards, we're going to measure the back wires and make sure that it's going to be like roughly like some free play, some like to mess around with when you solder them. And we're going to cut those to size, and we're going to separate them, we're going to strip them, we're going to tin them, and we're going to solder those to the board. So make sure you do that. And another thing what we're doing here is we're pretty much soldering the back wires one at a time. The ground wire is going to go on the outer outside of the board pinouts, and the red wire is going to go in the middle, and the signal wire is going to pretty much going to be on the inner pinouts of the board. And another thing too is we're only going to need one of the red wires to power the flight controller, because the back wire has a 5 voltage and 2 amp output, and that's going to be enough to power up your flight controller. And another thing too is the brown wire is the ground wire, and the red wire is the voltage wire, and the orange wire is the signal wire. And yeah, that should be enough for soldering the flight controller. Alright, we're coming up on the end of this video, and the last step is mounting the flight controller to the frame and the rest of the stuff. So here we go, we have the flight controller strapped in with these little rubber things on top of the power distribution board, and secured with these zip ties. And we got the standoffs on the platforms of the frame, and we got bolts underneath those as well. And we have the receiver right here connected with the PPM wire. Alright, first thing first, let's see, we're gonna put the PPM wire through the bottom of the platform. Your preference, you can keep it at the top, whatever. And yeah, we're gonna make sure that the receiver is connected properly to the PPM channel, which is channel 1, and make sure that the signal wire goes to the signal pin out, and the voltage wire goes to the voltage or pin out, and the ground goes to the ground pin out. And as you put it on top of the top part of the drone frame, you want to make sure you put the antennas through the holes. Then after that, you just bolt it in, and there you go.